What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm just trying to make sure that this book tower isn't going to fall because there's a lot of books on it. 2025 has come to a close, and I am gearing up for a good 2026. I read about 68 books in 2025. I attempted to read 79, 80 actually, but I couldn't get through all of them. A lot of them I DNF'd. If you don't like a book, don't read it. that's just how it goes. If you don't like a book, don't read it. I might DNF a lot of the books we're going to talk about today, but I'm going to attempt. And welcome to my 2026 TBR video. This is a big video telling you about all the books that I'm planning to read next year. And there's no guarantee that I'll get to all of them. There's a 100% guarantee that I will be reading books that aren't on this list. But this helps me at least think about month to month, what do I actually want to read? Otherwise, I would just wake up every day and think, I don't know what I want to read, and then not read. And because I want to read, I need a system to plan it. And this is just my system, is making this video, typing it in my Notion, what books do I want to read? And let's just get into it, right? We're gonna start with my physical TBR right here. You know, I hand selected these books myself from my bookshelf, which was an interesting time to say the least. Thinking about what books I do and don't want to read next year. I know I passed up some books on my bookshelf that I still haven't read, and I've had them for 2+ years now. And they will sit there until I eventually think, I never want to read this actually, and I'll just give it away. And then I'll go into some of the books that are on my digital TBR, just on a Notion list that I keep to kind of see, just to keep track of books that I come across. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I'll just put on the list for me to come back to at some other point. I don't have the physical copy, but I'll get an ebook of the physical copy when I do want to read it. And then I want to finish off with some manga and manhwa that I want to get back into, and I'll touch more on that later. And lastly, I asked YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, I asked my communities there to recommend me books that they want me to read in 2026. I'm letting people influence my 2026 TBR, and so I have a couple of books from people in those communities as well, and I appreciate you if you put in recommendations in general, and I will let you know who also recommended them, what the books are, etc. Once again, no guarantee that I'll get to every single thing, but I did put it on the list because I don't want to forget. Cool, that's enough of an intro. Let's get into the physical books, right? I do want to talk about the fact that I was supposed to read this first book this month, and I just will not be able to given the amount of work and traveling that I have at the end of the year. It is the Just of the Crown by Sarah Hashem. I loved Just of the Air so much, and I was planning to read this book, but you see how massive it is. You see how absolutely gargantuan this book is, right? So I ended up not being able to touch it, and have decided that I will make it a point to read this book second thing in January. So that's the first book, The Just of the Crown. The next one is a book that I am currently reading. I was once again supposed to read it in December. I got the flu, couldn't finish it, and it is Golden Sun. Okay, this is not a 2025 DNF. This is a 2025 current reads because I'm 19 chapters through, but I decided that I would then just wait until January and finish the rest of the book so I can get you guys your chapter to chapter commentary videos. And if you don't know what that is, if you're new here, I read Red Rising back in November. I read it and recorded my thoughts on each chapter of Red Rising as I read it, essentially, just to make like a really fun interactive time with everybody, just, you know, seeing my reactions to specific chapters, etc. So I'm doing the same with Golden Sun. I've read through 19 chapters, and I'll finish the rest of the book in January and give all those videos to you guys in January as well. But Golden Sun is actually going to be the first book that I read between now and January, just to finish it. And then I can record and get everything out for you guys. So Golden Sun is going to be the first book that I touch here soon. This is the last book that I will be finishing this year. This is the last book that I'll be finishing in 2025. It is Cello's Gate by Maurice Efrich. I got this book back in May, but I was in a book slump after reading 13 of Shami Stovall's books, and I just didn't finish this book. And I said, before the end of the year, I want to finish this book. So as we're talking, I'm reading this book. I am on chapter 32, page 310. I'm in the middle of their maze section, part 4. Very fun book, interesting. I'm enjoying my time in it. It's not pulling me along. I'm like pushing myself to continue reading it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm enjoying my time so far. So I'm dedicated to finishing this book in December, this being the last book I'll read of 2025, and then I'll start with Golden Sun. So Cello's Gate will be the last one I finish, and it's the book I'm currently reading. I really hope the way I'm stacking this, it doesn't create a problem later. Another book that I told myself that I would read in 2026 is Redwall, and I forgot that I had this bookmark with it because I forgot where I got this. Independent Bookstore Day. Look at it. It's a fluffy buffalo. Look at that. Oh, there's 2 of them in there. That's funny. Yeah, I forgot where I got this book. I think it might be one of the bookstores locally near me. But Redwall. I've been wanting to reread this series since I read it back in the 7th grade. I've been wanting to come back to these series and kind of read it in its quote-unquote canon order, which I haven't looked up yet. I'm just hoping this is book 1, but I heard some people say that they start with a different book first. But Redwall is on my list to read, at least this one, and if I find myself having a great time, you know me, I start binging books. I might just binge through more of the series. Who knows? This is one that I connected with my buddy Book Baba on. He's read Redwall before as well, and once he and I talked about it initially, I was like, yeah, I do want to read Redwall again. So we're gonna be reading Redwall. It is basically a book anthropomorphized. I think it's anthropomorphized animals. You follow the kingdom of these mice. You interact with different animals. There's like a badger in one of the books. I think there's like a duck and a bunny, like a rabbit in one of the books. It's really cool. It's really cool. And when I read Redwall back in the day, like it has stuck with me till this day. Like this was a canon book in my reading lore. So I'm very excited to go back to this. What's the next one? I forgot what order these are in, guys. Oh yeah. Okay, so I tried to read A Darker State of Magic this year as well, but I think I got like 2 chapters in and my brain was like, I don't know what's happening. I have no clue what's happening. So I didn't continue it, but I am committed to reading A Darker Shade of Magic because I love Gallant as my first V.E. Schwab book. I think I will really enjoy books like this, so I want to give it a chance. This was a recommendation that I got from Emma Skies over on TikTok years ago when I first joined Booktok, and I saw her talking about this book and saying this is one of her favorite series of all time. V.E. Schwab is her favorite author of all time, one of her favorite authors of all time, and so I was like, okay, cool. This sounds interesting. I want to read it, and I just need to give it the time of day. So I'm going to read this book this year. Even if I read nothing else on this list, I'm going to read this book this year for sure. When? Who knows? Who knows, right? If you don't see A Darker Shade of Magic on my TBRs or my review videos until like March or April, don't come at me. Don't come at me. I have a lot of books on this list, obviously. I'm going to pause here and just let you know or request that if you've read any of these books previously, let me know, spoiler-free, what you think about the books in the comments. And now we're going to move on to, oh yes. So, depending on how the Golden Sun videos go, I will continue to do chapter-by-chapter commentary over the rest of the Red Rising series, Morningstar being book 3, and then I have book 4, 5, and 6 up there. I will do all of those chapter by chapter, and if people end up not liking the chapter by chapter videos, or if it's just the videos just die off, etc., I'm still committed to reading the rest of the series next year. I said it. Okay, so you guys can keep me accountable. I will be reading the rest of the Red Rising series next year. If Red God comes out, I'll read that too. If it doesn't come out, at least I will have read all 6 of these books, and I can finally understand all of the meme videos that people post on Booktok. And I won't scroll past them so I don't spoil myself, essentially. You know what I'm saying? So I put Morningstar on the list just as a reminder of like, I'm going to finish Golden Sun in January, and either I go straight into Morningstar in February, start doing chapter by chapter then, or we take a month off. I started in March. Don't know yet. Probably won't be February because February is a very special month for my reading. So maybe this will be picked back up in March. Yes. I will be reading, once again, I will be revisiting Seth Ring's worlds of Nova Terra and Battle Mage Farmer. I read books 1 and 2 this year. Really enjoy these 2 literary RPGs. They're more on the technical side. So if you're a literary RPG enthusiast, you really enjoy Seth Ring books. He's very technical with it. But I do enjoy the way he writes. I enjoy the characters. I enjoy the story. I enjoy all of it. So I'm just going to slowly keep making my way through his series. I believe Battle Mage Farmer, I have all the books up to 8, and I don't know if there's more or not. And for Nova Terra, I have all the books up to 5, and I know there's more than 5 books of this series. So I'm just going to be slowly making my way through it. Maybe I'll read this one and books 4 in this series this year. You know, just chip away at the series slowly, etc. I realized that I can't really binge these series the way that I did Cradle and the way that I did Firth Chronicles and Astro Academy, because of how dense and technical these books are. I need a little bit of like a break in between the two. But I will be revisiting these worlds 100% in 2026 because I need like a constant drip feeding of Seth Ring in my life. That's what I've discovered. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And or ma'am and or scholar. We're reading Raven Scholar next year. Okay? I read this book. I started this book back in, I want to say October or September. My wife and I went to the bookstore and we got like 8 books. And one of them was The Raven Scholar. And I just like, I asked my wife to join me. And what I like to do a lot of the times is when I get like a big book haul, I'll read like 10 minutes of every single book just to see like and get initial thoughts about it, and then share the initial thoughts with you guys. And so I only read the first 10 minutes of Raven Scholar. What is this on the book? I don't like that. Anyways, I read 10 minutes of Raven Scholar, so I didn't really get into it, but I know now it's making the rounds and it's gone like a bit micro viral on Booktok, and a lot of people like it. So I'll end up going to it sometime this year. I don't care if it's only book 1 and book 2 isn't out yet. I'll have other books to fill my time. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to going into Raven Scholar and kind of seeing what the hype is about. I liked it when I read it. I did enjoy what I was reading thus far. It was very interesting, and the way Antonia Hodgson was like drip feeding lore about the world, about the different ruling bodies, about the different kingdoms, about history of like the individuals. It didn't feel like explanatory. It felt more like being immersed in like the world, and you know, oh, now I understand that this is this thing, or as the characters are being told things, you're being told things like that, right? So I really enjoy that. I enjoyed the way she wrote it, so looking forward to Raven Scholar. I realized that I should probably be putting the books like this so we can keep track of like the ones that we've already talked about, so I'll try doing that. Next one. This is a book that's been on my list for 2 years now. It's called The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I had originally got this book because I heard it had a really cool magic system, and that's it. That's really all I know about the book, and I have not come across any spoilers on this book and nothing like that. So I'm going to go into this book blind, and I'm dedicated to reading this book this year. I refuse to let 2026 go by without reading The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. Oh, y'all gonna love this. I'm gonna read Ledge by Stacey McEwen. You know why? Because I have Chasm back there. You know what happened? I bought Chasm before I bought Ledge, only because the book cover for Chasm is absolutely gorgeous. And I was like, I want this. And then I realized it was a book 2. And I was like, well, I can't have that. And then I bought Ledge. And I still haven't read them. So I said, you know what? Arish, you should read this book. So I'm going to read Ledge. I know nothing about it. I feel like it's a romance. It's like a romantasy type thing. What the fuck is a half... It's a slow-burning romance, high stakes, and even higher rewards. This richly created new fantasy series by popular TikToker Stacey McEwen will keep you gripped to the very end. My expectations for this are dropping and just constantly as I'm reading more about it. But I will read Ledge, and I will let you know what I think about it. And I promise to let you know what I think about it. What sucks is if I don't like the book, I might not read book 2. Then what's the point of me having the books in the first place? You know what I mean? It's kind of sad. I really want to read this book. I really do want to read this book. It's called The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, and I saw this book. It was one of the big books I got when I got Raven Scholar, and it just seems like one of those like low stakes, fantastical, like magical, whimsical books. And I read 10 minutes of it, and it was exactly that. And there's a talking plant in here. There's a talking plant in here, and I love him. What's his name? It's Kaz. I love Kaz the talking plant. I love him so much. And so I've been wanting to go back to this book for a minute, and I'm going to now that the new year is coming up. So this is on my list to read and just have a nice whimsical time, to be honest with you. I don't know what to expect. Y'all have been telling me to read this book for a minute now. And by y'all, I mean my friends over on Booktok have been telling me to read this book for a minute now. And so this past weekend, I went to Peddler's Village in Lahaska, Pennsylvania, and they had a bookstore there. And whenever I see a bookstore, I have to go inside. I don't always buy things, but I did buy things this time. And the bookstore there is very cute, the Lahaska bookshop. Very cute bookshop. And I just completely lied to you guys, because that is not where I got this book. Okay, those are these two books down here. Somewhere here is when I got like the book from Lahaska. It's not okay. One sec. Rewind. Okay. In November, I drove to Washington. I actually drove to a place called, what was it called? Because I know I kept saying it wrong. It was a place in Maryland, 30 minutes out of Baltimore, something like that. For Aparna Verma's book signing for The Phoenix King and The Burning Queen. Mainly, it was a Burning Queen book signing. So I went there, and it was in a Barnes and Nobles in that area. So I got 2 copies of Phoenix King. I got 2 copies of Burning Queen, and then I also picked up a few more books. And my friend who was with me, who I asked, hey, can you come with me because I don't want to go alone, she came with me, so I bought her some books, then she bought me books because it was a belated birthday. We had a weird like book gift exchange, etc. So I ended up getting this book there at the book signing in the Barnes and Nobles. It's called Empire the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. Look how floppy it is. Look how floppy the book is. It's just so floppy. I love it. And so everybody and their mother has been telling me to read Empire the Vampire by Jay Kristoff, and I know y'all like it. Listen, Darius, Jeff, Baba, I know y'all like this book. I know it. So I'm going to read it in 2026. Don't ask me when. I don't know when, but I am going to read this book then. Just look out. Just look out for this. I don't know if I'll binge the rest of the trilogy. The trilogy is now done. The new book just came out this year. But I'm going to give it a try because I do trust those guys in terms of the recommendations for me. Another book that my boy Darius has been harping on a lot in over on Booktok, Darius reads over on Booktok, is Jade City by Fonda Lee. And this book has been out for a while, but I think it's making its rounds again, I feel like. But I finally picked it up. I finally picked up Jade City by Fonda Lee, and I'm going to read it in 2026 because I just heard it's a banger book and a banger series, and so I want to be a part of this banger book series conversation. I don't want to be a part of a lot of them. I don't care about Sanderson. I don't care about Stephen King's. I don't care about Akatar's. I don't care about Don't Glasses. I don't care about any of those things. But I want to be a part of Fonda Lee's world. Okay, so Jade City, I'm gonna be in you at some point in 2026. This next book, this is the book that I bought in Lahaska bookshop this past weekend. Okay, it's called The Griffin King by Sarah Omer, one of those. And only reason I really cared about this book was I started following the author over on Twitter, and I was intrigued by her kind of spiels and book blurbs about it. And I'm also trying to continue to read books by South Asian authors, and so I picked up The Griffin King. That's it. I don't know much about it. I did read the back of it. You know, it's gonna be a romance type thing of a king and a harpy knight. That's what's gonna happen essentially. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know when I'll get to it, but I will get to it, or at least I would like to get to it, and see what's up in the world of Griffin King. And if it's good, you'll know. If it's not good, you'll also know. Okay? I don't mince my words. Oh, this stack is shaking. We are now through all the paperbacks that I had. Let's move on to the hardbacks. I feel like hardback is just a derogatory term. Hardcover is better, but I feel like hardback, it just sounds like a slur. Anyways, we're going to try reading Wolf Soldier by James R. Hannibal. I bought this book, I think in 2024, when I first went to Bookish at the King of Prussia Mall over here. And I do love Bookish. I walk in there almost every single time I'm in the mall just to look around and kind of just be a part of the bookstore. That's about it. I know nothing about this book. I know there's a dragon right there, there's a castle right there, and there's an insignia of a wolf on a shield right there. That's really all I know about, and it's snowy and icy. That's really all I know. So that's what we're gonna do. I really don't want to read this book, but I'm committed to doing it because I spun a wheel and I need to at least attempt it. As somebody who has never read a fan fiction in his life, I somehow spun a wheel of TikTok recommendations, of Booktok recommendations, and I landed on this book, and I continued to push it off and never opened it because I am, quite frankly, intimidated by this book. Alchemized by Senlin Yu. And I tried to avoid as many spoilers as I could, but I did come across 2 people who talked about this book after they read it, which one was Lynn Moore, and the other one was Gina. So I saw what Linmore said about after he'd read it. He said he couldn't properly review it or rate it because it is just too close to the fan fiction it was based off of, which is called Manacled, which Simon Yu also wrote, and Manacled is a Harry Potter fan fiction. And so he said he couldn't review because it's too close to the original, and he just couldn't he couldn't separate the two. And then Gina, I saw that she read it, and I saw a couple of things on it that I forgot what she said, but I kind of like removed it from my mind, because as someone who's never read a fan fiction, therefore I've never read Manacled, I didn't even know Manacled was a thing until people started talking about Alchemized. I think my perspective on this would be very different from theirs, and so I want to keep my perspective as separated as possible. So I'm going to try and read Alchemized and tell you guys my thoughts on Alchemized as someone who's never read a fan fiction, who's never read Manacled. So we will see what happens. I did also get $3 off this book when I bought it from Barnes & Noble. Look how fat this book is. Okay, look how big this book is, bro. This is I, the Bedlam Bride, which is book 6 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I have all the books so far in this little box right here in this bookshelf, and I read 5 books this year, and I just did not want to open Out of the Bedlam Bride because of how big it is. But in 2026, I will be revisiting DCC and reading Out of the Bedlam Bride and book 7, This Inevitable Ruin. I will be trying to get to those as I can, as I just progress through the year. Because this one book is gonna take me weeks to finish, probably, unless I do what I do when I binge books, which is I don't work and I just read. Next one is a book that I've had since 2023 called The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. This is the 10th anniversary special edition. I have never read this book, and I think it's really good. I've heard a lot about it. I plan to read this book in 2026 because also I just don't like the fact that it always keeps staring at me on my bookshelf saying, you haven't read me yet. And you've had me for like almost 3 years now. So Bone Season by Samantha Shannon will be read by me in 2026. Count on it. Okay, you can put a Polymarket Kalshi bet on it that I will be reading this book in 2026. Please, oh, that's falling backwards now. Okay, move it forward again. Okay, we have a few more physical copies left, and then we're good, and I can just like split the stack up. This book right here has a bit of a story behind it. Let's do story time real quick. Every February for the past 2 or 3 years now, 3 years now, because I think I started doing it in 2023, I read only romance books in February, or romantasy if I get my hands on them. So this past year in 2025, I finally read Divine Rivals, and I was reading it because I was really hoping that it wouldn't be as good as it is. I was really hoping that I would be correct in thinking that everybody who was hyped about Divine Rivals when they read it, they were going to be wrong. That book was fire. That book was so good. I loved basically every minute that I was reading it. It was one of my favorite reads of the year. I ended up buying Ruthless Vows, which is the second book in the duology, trying to start it, and I did not like the way it was starting, so I just kind of stopped it. But this February, I will go back to the world of Divine Rivals and read and finish Ruthless Vows so that I can put this world to bed. I don't have a full list of books that I want to read in February yet in terms of romance, so if you do get to this point in the video and you have romance recommendations for me, let me know. I will also post towards the end of January a short where I ask you guys for romance recs, so either tell me now or tell me then. But I would love to get recommendations on what I can read in February. I prefer rom-coms, but I'm down for the like maybe a bit more of a sober romance or like a heartwarming one, whatever it is, right? I read The Lost Story by Meg Schaffer, which is not like necessarily a romance book, but it has a lot of romance in it. And this one was a gay romance, and I loved it. It was so good. It was so good. It wasn't as good as The Wishing Game, but it was still such a good book. Okay, I've also had this book since 2023. I believe this was a recommendation from Zoran when she read it, I think. Or this might have been another Emma Sky's recommendation. I don't remember at this point. But this is, I believe, a standalone fantasy book called The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi, and I've been wanting to read it for 2 years now, and I haven't because I just kept putting it off. So in 2026, we're going to start. In 2026, as you can see, it is reading books that are on my physical TBR so I can knock them off the list instead of having them stare at me every single night. That's essentially what it is. So Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi is the books that I want to read, is one of the books that I want to read in 2026. I don't know anything else about it. I know it's a seafaring adventure. That's really it. But I do respect Shannon Chakraborty as an author. I've heard her books are fire. I want to, at some point, read the David Bach trilogy as well, which I believe is the City of Brass books. Why is the City of Brass not on this list? What the fuck? All right, we got City of Brass on the list as well. We'll talk about that later. But I want to read Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi at some point in 2026. All right, last but not least, the most recent addition to my bookshelf. This is also another book that I bought at the Lahaska bookshop. It's called Red City by Marie Lu. And I got this book because people on Booktok have been hyping it up. And I was just intrigued. But here is my cautionary tale with this book, right? The people who were hyping this up were the same people who were hyping up Strength of the Few before it came out. And Strength of the Few was a disappointment because of that hype. So I'm not going into Red City thinking it's going to be the best thing ever, even though there are people saying this is it's a 5-star book. I'm not going into it believing it's a 5-star book. I'm going into it blind, believing that this could be a good book, and I will decide that for myself. But what I'm not going to do is have people online overhype a book for me so that my experience of the book is ruined when reading it. That is what I'm not going to do. And that is what I'm not going to do for you guys either. Okay, if I'm talking about a book, we're gonna talk about the actual book, what happened, like, and actually how I felt about it, not just, oh my god, this is a fire book, and then I throw my glasses like Jordan Howlett. Like, I'm not doing that, right? This is the end of my physical TBR when it comes to my 2026 reads. And this thing started tilting as soon as I said that, so we are just going to take off the... We're gonna do something here. Here we go. Here's one. Here's a way to do it. Okay, that's good. Okay. We almost had a catastrophe on our hands of epic proportions. We're just gonna split the books here real quick. Do that. And then do that. Okay, cool. It's a cute little book list right there. There we go. So that is the end of my physical TBR. Now I want to get into some 2026 books that are on my digital TBR. I want to read Combat Codes. This book has been on my mind since I saw Neil from Neil's book reviews or Neil's book reads. Neil the book guy on Booktok. Love that guy. He was there when I joined in 2023 or 2022 and have loved his like videos since then. And he talked a lot about Combat Codes, and I really want to read that. Chain Gang All Stars, I believe, is a book that either came out this year or people had it had gone viral this year or whatever it is, but it sounded very interesting because I believe somebody talked about it as like Hunger Games but better, more adult, a little bit different. I don't know, but like somebody they akined it to Hunger Games, and I found that intriguing. I found that comparison intriguing, so I kind of want to read Chain Gang All Stars as well. I want to go back to Ryan Cahill's world of Bound and Broken. Is it called The Bound and Broken? Yeah, I believe it's called the Bound and the Broken series. Because I read book 1 this year, and I opened like 2 pages of book 2, and I was like, I'm not feeling it right now. So I want to go back with book 2 of Darkness and Light from the Bound and the Broken series, and then just see where it goes from there. A lot of people like the book. A lot of people like the series. I thought book 1 was good. It was nice, but there was nothing inside of me compelling me to continue reading it. But I did hear that his writing levels up throughout the book or throughout the series to where like the way the latter books are written is like not even close to how the initial books were written. Travis, yo, I'm gonna read the Burning Kingdoms. Okay, you've been saying that a lot. I'm surprised you didn't put that on the Influence My TBR video that I put out. But I'm gonna read the Burning Kingdoms just for you, my guy. Just for you. I'm going to start with Jasmine Throne. I also want to read Sons of Darkness by God of Mohanty. I tried opening it up this year, and my brain couldn't handle it. I'll be honest. God of Mohanty, I'm sorry. My brain couldn't handle your book. My brain could not handle it. But I'm committed to trying it this year and making sure that I can read the full book and giving my thoughts on it. And then, Gaurav, I want to talk to you. Either on my podcast or on my book channel. I want to talk to you. I want to pick your brain about a lot of things. I find you very interesting, sir. Another dude that I find interesting is R.R. Virdi because he has amazing hair, and that's why I want to talk to you, R.R. Virdi. And I want to read Doors of Midnight. It is a massive book. Every time I see this book at bookstores, I'm so intimidated by it that I don't buy it. But I want to read Doors of Midnight, and I've heard it's good, so I do want to read Doors of Midnight. And then you just saw me in this video at it. I want to read City of Brass. by S.A. Chakraborty as well. So those are the books that are on my physical and digital 2026 TBR. And I want to skip ahead and talk about manga and manhwa, because manga and manhwa have been a very important part of my reading life for over almost a decade now. And so this past year, I kind of stopped reading manhwa because I wanted to spend more time reading books. And I feel like that was the wrong choice, because I feel like with all the emphasis I put on reading these books, there's a lot of stories in the manhwa world that I just left, the manga and manhwa world that I just left, that were also bringing me joy, bringing me happiness, intriguing my brain, engaging my brain, and giving me a little bit of a palate cleanser between books that I was reading, etc. And I just kind of left them. And one of my goals for 2026 is to go back to 2022 Arish, because I feel like over the past few years, this is getting a little bit off tangent, and we'll go back to the books in a second, I promise. But I felt this year, because I've been going through some things, and I felt this year that 2022 Arish was probably one of the best versions of Arish that there was in the past, like in my entire life. And I want to go back to being that guy. I admired that guy. And so that guy was reading a lot of manga and right? He was reading manga, manhwa, and books. And this year I kind of stopped reading manhwa and manga, and I want to get back to it. So the ones that I want to get back to, and I'll share them with you as well. All of these are ones that I've already read, because I want to just revisit the ones that I've read and catch up before I start any new ones. I want to go back to God of High School, and I want to read at least the first main arc of it before his like whole aesthetic changes. Mainly because I've also taken up Taekwondo, and I want to read God of High School just to get all like the nice motivation working out, like the working out motivation that I get from reading manga and manhwa is like unparalleled. And I want to read God of High School to get that like Taekwondo like Taekwondo like juices firing. And then I also want to catch up with Tower of God, which, bro, that's going to take me weeks to catch up on Tower of God, but I'm going to catch up on Tower of God. If you want periodic update videos on my experience with Tower of God rereading it, let me know and I'll give that to you. I'll probably already do it anyways, because I do have the first 3 volumes of it here, and I kind of want to buy the rest of the volumes as well that are already out, so we'll do that. I want to go back and read Awashi. I heard Awashi finished finally, which is really kind of sad, because it finished like pretty soon after I stopped reading it, which was in the soccer in the tournament game against, I think, Real Madrid. And so I'm a bit upset that it's finished, except I was gonna have more time with it. So I do want to go back and finish it, because I have a really big problem finishing like manga and manhwa. I just kind of like leave them. So I do want to revisit it and finish it. I want to revisit Blue Lock as well and catch up on it and add more manga to my shelf for Blue Lock. Same thing with Windbreaker. I want to go back to it, add more books to my book, add more volumes to my bookshelf, and just catch up on Windbreaker. You guys need to read Shangri-La Frontier. Either watch or read Shangri-La Frontier. It is so fun. It is such a fun gamers anime and gamers manga. I love it so much. So I want to go back and catch up on Shangri-La Frontier. And then the last 4 are actually manhwa. I want to catch up on Omniscient Reader, which is going to be a fucking chore. That one is going to be a chore, because it's so hard, even week to week, to keep up with what's happening, that I'm going to have to like remember where did I stop, and then start a little bit before I stopped, so I can like remember things, and then binge the rest of the chapters forward. Catch up on Elicide, because Elicide is my guilty pleasure manhwa. It's dumb, it's funny, it's power of friendship bullshit, but I love it. I want to catch up on The Last Adventure, because I really fucked with the art style in that one, so heavy. And then I want to catch up on Infinite Gacha. I think it's like a level 99 Infinite Gacha or something like that. That one had a really intriguing story. So I want to catch up on that. There are others that I want to catch up on that I have on my reading list on my computer that I just didn't put on this list. But just to let you know that I will be going back to reading manga and manhwa in 2026. That is all of my stuff for 2026 TBR, but the video still isn't done, because I have recommendations from my folks over on Booktok. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. And and I want to talk about the books that they recommended to me that I'm putting on my 2026 TBR. The first one by Bailey Thomas, recommended to me by Bailey Thomas. Bailey Thomas is also the author, is You Should Have Just Let Me Go. I looked at the other books that she has. I'm gonna read this one first. Probably read it in February. I'm gonna try out Promise of Blood, which is the Powdered Mage series. Bobby Perry and K.R. Solberg over on TikTok recommended this one heavily. K.R. Solberg said this book, like this trilogy, rewrote her brain chemistry and caused her to revisit a manuscript that she wrote and then publish it. So that's high praise, and I respect K.R. Solberg's recommendations a lot, and so we're gonna try it out. Recatress over on Booktok recommended Ascension, so I'm gonna try that one. Morgan Pennington did recommend the Farseer trilogy, and I've been thinking about getting into Robin Hobb for a while now. I just haven't, but I did put it on the list to maybe get into Assassin's Apprentice. Fitzgerald Farseer is like, I've seen him on so many people's best MCs of all time list that I'm like, there's no way he could be that good, right? There's no way, right? But now that I think about it, because of the Farseer trilogy, I don't want to keep putting books on this list, but I'm going to. I really do want to read JDL Roselle's Ranger series. I forget what it's called, but I'll put the image up here for what it's called. And then I do want to go back to Pedro Irby's Ranger series, because I personally I do want to make a video comparing all the different Ranger books that we series that we have from people. And so I've already read obviously Ranger's Apprentice. I've read Rise of the Ranger, the entire Echo Saga series by PC Quaintrell. So I kind of want to read JDL Roselle's Ranger series and then Pedro Irby's The Last Ranger series, and then compare all of them and or read more. So I'll start those and see how it goes. Anyways, going back to the Booktok Recs, the last one that I just got yesterday at the end of the day from Jack Ann Marie, shout out Jack Ann Marie, is Wriggly Little Hands. And she really likes this one. I think the way she explained it was, it's a comedic fantasy about a family of goblins sent to retrieve the Dark Lord's doomsday weapon, but they're goblins, so things go sideways. The audiobook is great, and if you're a fan of DCC, you might recognize one of the voices. Cool. So yeah, I really enjoy the fact that she put it on there, that she recommended it. Those are all the recommendations I got on the video. Somebody recommended Sanderson, and I ignored the fuck out of that recommendation. I'm gonna be honest, I ignored that recommendation. Those are all the books that are on my 2026 TBR. There are a ton of books. I think there are at least. So there's about 54 books that are on my 2026 TBR, and I did include for DCC, I only talked about Isle of the Bedlam Bride, but I do plan to read This Inevitable Ruin. For Red Rising, I only talked about Golden Sun Morningstar, but I do plan to read the rest of the series, right? So I included all those books, and it's about 56 books so far. And I know it's going to be more than that, because we haven't even talked about all the books that I'm going to read in February for romance books that aren't on this list, right? We haven't talked about, I completely forgot to tell you guys that I'm going to be reading the books 9 through 12 of the Cradle series, which is included in the 56 number. But books 9 through 12 of the Cradle series, I will definitely be reading as well. Not to mention, if any of these books that are book 1s or book 2s or book 3s that I continue reading the rest of the series on are going to be added to this. So we're looking at hopefully a minimum of 60 books next year, but the 60 books do also include the manhwa and manga, which is fine. But we are looking at reading 60 books minimum in 2026, which is awesome. That's awesome to me. So yeah, that was my entire 2026 TBR. Let me know your thoughts on any of the books we talked about today. If you have any recommendations that you think were this based on what you're saying you want to read, you gotta read this book, leave it in the comments. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, because I don't think I'll be there by the time this video comes out. And then if you think somebody you know would enjoy this video, please send it to them, please share it with them. And as usual, I will catch you guys next time. Peace.